for you to use an iPhone?
No, because
All right. So, thank you guys all for coming this evening. I'd like to show you this photo. It comes from the Royal Society of Medicine Journal. How does this picture make you feel? Angry? Sad? What if it was your grandmother or your mother? We all have grandparents, aunts, uncles. We ourselves will hopefully grow to old age one day. And hopefully none of the people that I mentioned will require the services of a long-term care facility or an extended stay in the hospital. But what if they do? Will they be safe? I've been a nurse for 8 years and have unfortunately witnessed events like this, from patients being admitted to the hospital and abuse in other ways, such as financial predation among family members. And it happens all too often. Elder abuse exists, and it can be prevented by educating the public about recognizing the signs of abuse and encouraging caring of the Lord's value for human life. So I'm going to discuss with you today different ways in which elder abuse can occur and what you can do about it. I'll discuss abuse and neglect in long-term care facilities, how financial abuse can occur to the elderly, and different actions that you can take to help prevent it. The first aspect of abuse I'd like to discuss with you is the abuse that occurs in extended care facilities. Abuse and neglect of the elderly can occur in many places, including extended care facilities. This chart here shows different types of abuse that can occur. This is from the Center on Elder Abuse. So the physical abuse is the 29% portion that you see here. Sexual abuse is the smaller red portion of 7% that you see. Psychological abuse is the pink section here, 21%. 7% is financial exploitation. Gross neglect is 14%, and resident-to-resident abuse is 22%. So the National Center on Elder Abuse states that nearly 1 in 3 nursing homes were cited for violations of federal standards and had the potential to cause harm or cause actual harm to residents during the time period of 1999 to 2001. Some characteristics of nursing home residents are here. Aged greater than 85 years is 49%, non-white is 9%, receives assistance with greater than 3 activities of daily living is 83%, mild to moderate cognitive impairment is 71%, and exhibits physically aggressive behaviors is 9%. This comes from the National Center for Biotechnical Information. So studies have shown that adults that require more assistance and adults that are cognitively impaired are at higher risk for abuse. So as you can see, that makes up the majority of the patients in those facilities. The National Center on Elder Abuse states that during a study of 2,000 interviews that were conducted, 44% of long-term care residents said they had been abused, and 95% said that either they themselves have been neglected or have witnessed neglect against another resident. According to the Health Services Research Journal article, Relationships of Nursing Home Staffing to Quality of Care, inadequate staffing has been associated with inadequate feeding assistance during meals, poor skin care, lower activity participation, and less toileting assistance. When you think about that, you've got staff required to assist residents with toileting, meals, you've got 15 to 20 patients that you're responsible for. It's impossible to be in more than one place at one time. You've got several residents calling you at the same time to use the restroom. You're inevitably going to not make it to someone in time. Same thing with meals. Mealtime, you've got a 1 to 2 hour time frame, and you've got to feed 15 to 20 people. You're limited in what you can do. Some people are just going to miss meals, and it's unfortunate. Actually, 92% of the nation's nursing homes report staffing levels below staffing minimums. And more than 50% of the nursing homes would actually have to double current staffing levels to meet the minimums. And that comes from the Health Services Research Journal in 2004. But other abuse doesn't only occur on a physical level, it can be from financial means as well. So elderly abuse, my grandmother, you guys probably have all seen something similar to this. This is comes from the International Franchise Consultant Network. It's basically a sweepstakes thing, a mailer that you get from many different companies. Some would give more than 1 or 2 of these a week. Most of us throw them away. Says you've received, congratulations, you're the recipient of $2 million. Most of us cognitively are aware that that's truly not the case, And when they request a check for $20 to $30 for a product or to cover the cost of taxes and that sort of thing, we just disregard it and throw it away. But to a cognitively impaired elderly person, it seems legitimate, and writing that check comes easy to them. My grandmother actually had spent, once we found these types of things in her mail, we went back and looked at her finances, and she was spending over $600 a month to companies such as this for different charities and sweepstakes organizations. So according to AgingCare.com, the elderly are vulnerable to scams because they tend to be too trusting, gullible, live alone, and don't have someone watching over their finances. It makes them targets for financial scams. It makes sense. So now that we know elder abuse exists, what can we do about it? There are ways that all the general public can recognize and help prevent the abuse of our elders. According to the National Committee for Prevention of Elder Abuse, there are several things we can look for that will alert us to possible abuse. Absence of food and water, unexplained bruises, bed sores, dehydration, unexplained weight loss. AgingCare.com suggests monitoring the elderly's finances, visiting them often, checking up on them, seeing how they're spending their money, where's their money going every month. We also need to encourage government agencies to push for better staffing ratios regarding nurse-to-patient ratios. There should be harsher punishment for violators. Oftentimes, neglect can be unintended, but it's just a result of those inadequate staffing ratios like I had mentioned. In summary, elder abuse occurs in many forms and unfortunately to many people. There are things that we can do to help recognize and prevent that abuse. Leviticus 19, verse 32 states, "You shall give due honor and respect to the elderly in the fear of God, for I am Jehovah." We all hope to live to old age. One day we could be one of the statistics that I've shown to you. In order to prevent abuse from occurring to us later on, we need to take action now. As you leave here today, I urge you, check on your elders. Just talk to them. Make sure they have access to things they need: food, water, utilities, heat, electricity. Make sure that they're being taken care of, because we all one day could be in their shoes. Thank you all for coming. Have a good evening.